Hey beer tubers! Today I'm opening up a beer from a local brewery, and this is one of their limited release beers, so I don't know if you could get a hold of it, but if you do, it should be pretty interesting. It's from Speakeasy Ales and Lagers. It's their barrel-aged Scarface. Now, this is their Imperial Stout, which lies around 9.5%, I believe, and just a little bit of a background with my experience with them. They were actually the first experience that I've had with a double IPA, and when I first had that thing, you know, my first experience with a double IPA, I was like, whoa, it was just the craziest thing. And of course now I have it, it's just like, oh, it's a solid double IPA. Now my personal thoughts on some of their beers, some of the best beers that I think that they make is their Payback Porter, which is their robust porter. I think it's so awesome, and their barley wine is great. Their Scarface is their Imperial Stout, which I haven't been too crazy about, but I haven't had the barrel-aged version yet, and so this should be pretty interesting, and it has a few months of age to it already, so we're going to see how it is. I have another one in my cellar just to see how it changes, so let me go ahead and open this up, and I'll show you guys how it is. So this has the fancy wax on it. I kind of like the glittery silver over it, but it's quite a chore to open these things. Alright, let's see if that's enough there. Almost! Ayo! Got it. Alright, cool. So let me go ahead and pour it into this glass will do. My favorite New Belgium glass. It's also Ken Schmitz's favorite tasting glass as well, too. I met him at Lost Abbey Brewery, and I saw him carrying one of those, and I'm like, is that your personal glass? And he's like, yeah, I just carry this around with me all the time with this big, deep bass voice. So, anyways, we look at the color here, and as you could imagine, it's opaque black. It's not see-through at all, even against the light. The head diminished pretty fast. It's a dark mocha color, and it's not holding on any longer than it is now. It's just disappearing right away. So let me go ahead and check the aroma on this thing. Oh yeah, the bourbon and vanilla is very prominent in it. You get roasted malt, you get milk chocolate. Yeah, the vanilla and the wood character from the barrels are actually quite prominent. It's really nice too. I remember, I lied. I did have a sip of this before during San Francisco Beer Week, and I must say it was actually quite boozy, but because it was only a sip, I don't really count it. So this is my first real tasting of the beer. So let me give it a try here. Kanpai. Okay, so right off the bat, you get a decent amount of sweetness, because it's an Imperial Stout. You get like milk chocolate, but right away you get some of the bourbon characters from the barrels. Vanilla is very prominent throughout the entire tasting session of this beer. A decent amount of carbonation, which is nice because it definitely helps cleanse the palate in order to just it makes the tasting experience more enjoyable rather than just like dipping your tongue into syrup. I get coffee. There's quite a bit of roast, and that's definitely a character from the Scarface Imperial Stout, that there's just a lot of roast and a lot of hops in it, which isn't really my favorite thing. But because this has been aged in barrels, it seems like it just got toned down a bit, and the bourbon and the barrel character barrels definitely just help smoothen those out. Yeah, and it finishes off with a slight roasty, molassesy, maybe just hints of burnt caramel, and the very tail end of the finish, I get cigar, like very light cigar, and that's actually a really nice character. There are very few Imperial Stouts that end with that character, namely the one that I think of right away is Parabola, which is this. It could get really cigar-y in a good way, you know, like you dip your cigar into cognac or bourbon. It's that kind of thing. But that's the Parabola. The barrel-aged Scarface does end with that slight cigar-y character, but, you know, like molasses, burnt caramel at the end. This is actually quite nice. I'm actually digging it a bit. My rating for this beer, I'm going to give it an A-. I'm actually quite surprised and impressed just because I thought it was going to be this boozy mess and the flavor is just going everywhere. But you give this a little time, it actually helps smoothen it out. And you don't need to age it a year or 2 years to do that, you know, and bring it to bottle shares doing that thing. But, you know, just a few months and it does wonders to this beer. I actually really dig this. This is about $12 to $14 that I've seen around the Bay Area, so it is a bit pricey, but it is lingering around in the Bay Area a bit here and there. I've seen it even in corner stores too, which I'm actually quite surprised. So yeah, if you could get a hold of this, I do recommend this quite a bit. Like I said, my favorite 2 beers from Speakeasy is the Payback Porter and their barley wine with the Old Godfather, which I'm really glad that they started releasing it again. Good job, guys. I really dig it. And if you guys have it on tap at your tasting room, because I'm actually like a 10-minute bike ride to their place. That's one good thing of living where I'm living right now. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you get a hold of this because it's actually quite good. So I'll see you guys in the next beer blog. Kampai!